Alright, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go over the Distal Convoluted Tubule, or DCT, and ADH, or Antidiuretic Hormone. So, the DCT, or Distal Convoluted Tubule, is the second to last segment in the nephron. It's involved in reabsorption and secretion of various things. It's also involved with ADH, which we'll get into in a few moments. But just a little recap here. From the last video, we went over the loop of Henle. We went over the descending loop and the ascending loop. So the DCT is right after this, right? And following the DCT will be the collecting duct, which will be the next video. So the DCT, it's reabsorbing and secreting stuff. So what again is reabsorption and what is secretion? So the act of reabsorption is taking stuff from the tubular fluid, which would be stuff that we would urinate out, and putting it back into the blood because we need it. Secretion is taking stuff from the blood and putting it, basically secreting it or putting it back into the tubular fluid to be urinated out. So there are a few things that are reabsorbed and some things are secreted. So let's go over all of them and why. The first thing is sodium chloride, right? So salt. This is stuff that is going to enter our blood from the tubular fluid. So this would be usually peed out, urinated out, but we're putting this back into the blood if necessary. So that everything here is, quotes, if necessary, right? If our body needs it. So what about sodium chloride? Why? So remember, it's very important for our blood to be appropriately concentrated, right? We don't want it to dilute with water or too concentrated with salt, right? This is the same reason why when you go to, for example, the hospital or something, and when they give you like an IV, whatever, and they have to flush it, they give you saline, right? Because we don't want to basically burst our blood cells, okay? Or basically kill them. It's also involved, right, for the sodium-potassium pump, because all of our cells in our body are using the sodium-potassium pump, and we need sodium. If our blood does not have enough sodium, it will cause some really bad issues, right? The second thing it's involved in is reabsorption of water. I want to skip this until we get to ADH in a few moments because it's mainly involved in ADH. The third thing is bicarbonate. And bicarbonate with the proton here for secretion is super important in acid-base balance. Okay? So acid-base balance, right? We don't want our blood to be too acidic, nor do we want it too basic. Okay, because if it is either or, it can cause major damage to our cells and organs. We could die if you go into acidosis, for example. Acidosis is too acidic blood, right? So this is actually involved in the bicarbonate buffer system. I'll make a whole video on this because it's actually a very complicated topic that a lot of people are a little uneasy about, which is completely okay. But don't worry about that for now. All you need to really know is that this is involved in acid-base balance, making sure our blood is not too acidic, nor is it too basic. The other thing, which is actually quite unique, is it can actually reabsorb calcium, but it requires the parathyroid hormone. Now let's think about this, okay? Why? All right, why do we need to reabsorb calcium? This is like a critical thinking little thing, okay? So you're probably aware, right, that your bones require calcium. Your muscles also require calcium for contractions. So say if we are lacking calcium in our body, why do we want to pee it out, right? Why do we want to urinate calcium out? That would be really bad. So let's reabsorb it to the blood so our bones can have this calcium and our muscles can have the calcium, right? Because it would be really bad if we were to urinate calcium out, if if our body desperately needs it. Let's talk about secretion now. So what are we secreting? Taking stuff from the blood and putting it back into the tubular fluid. One of them is potassium, okay? So once again, we talked about the potassium, sodium-potassium pump, right? If there's too much potassium in our blood, we need to put it back in the tubular fluid and urinate it out so the balance is appropriate, right? But more importantly, well, not really more importantly, but same importance is the proton, right? Protons are acidic. They cause our blood to be acidic, okay? If our blood is too acidic, we'll go into acidosis. We don't want that. So what are we going to do? How do we get rid of this proton? That's where the kidney comes in, right? This DCT. We could take protons from our blood and put it into tubular fluid to be urinated out so we don't go into acidosis, right? If our blood is too acidic, right, that's what we can do, okay? It's not too bad, right? And this bottom left-hand diagram here, what I drew is just an overview of the DCT, where everything in red is stuff that will go to the blood if necessary, and the stuff in yellow is stuff that will enter the DCT to be urinated out if necessary. All right, let's talk about ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. So there's many names for it, okay? It could be called antidiuretic hormone, aka ADH, aka vasopressin, aka AVP, aka arginine vasopressin. Okay, so I was raised on ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. Okay, the Americans, I think it's Americans, they named it vasopressin. There's a reason why, I'll get into in a second. It's also called arginine vasopressin. I've never heard a single person in my life say arginine vasopressin, but it is also called that because the receptors for ADH are arginine based. It's a little fun fact. I call it ADH. I will always call it ADH. Actually, I may accidentally say vasopressin, but just roast me in the comments, whatever. Okay, what is it? So it's called antidiuretic hormone. The first thing we need to figure out is what does diuretic actually mean, right? If you don't know what diuretic means, you probably won't even know what antidiuretic hormone does. Diuretic means to urinate. Okay, so for example, when you drink coffee, right? I bet you drink, if you like coffee or ever drink coffee, right? You probably realize that you have to go to the bathroom like 30 minutes later, right? After drinking it. That's a diuretic, right? Caffeine is a diuretic. It makes you go to the bathroom, right? It makes you urinate, okay? So anti means basically no urination, right? And anti-peen. So this is technically the no urinating hormone in a way. It's not necessarily true because how should I say this? If ADH is secreted, you're still able to urinate, right? That's not a problem, okay? But there's a huge disclaimer here, okay? What you're not peeing out is water. You're not peeing a lot of water out, okay? Because it's being reabsorbed. Let me back up for a second. So when let me give you two scenarios, okay? Say scenario one, you are bleeding out, right? You got a cut and you're hemorrhaging, it's really bad, you're bleeding, okay? Your blood pressure is dropping, okay? Because you're losing blood, right? So your heart will be pumping faster. What is our body gonna do? Okay? Well, what our body's gonna do is gonna say, okay, we need to get stuff back into the blood vessels to increase our blood pressure. What is that substance that we're gonna put back in the blood vessels? That's gonna be water. So that's where ADH gets secreted. ADH gets secreted to put water back into the blood vessel to increase our blood pressure, okay? So this is why, actually, let's do scenario 2 first. Scenario 2, you're dehydrated, okay? You're dehydrated, meaning you need water, right? ADH is gonna be secreted to capture any water in our urine as possible so we don't die, basically, right? This is why that when you go and you're dehydrated and you're still able to go to the bathroom when you're dehydrated, right? It's not like you're not able to go. When you're dehydrated, ADH is being secreted. So you're still able to pee, but what you're not really peeing is water, okay? Let me explain. When you're dehydrated and you pee, you realize that your urine's yellow, right? The reason is because it's not diluted with water. It's because ADH has taken control to steal all the water from the urine and put it back into our blood, right? So we're not dehydrated, okay? So yeah, you are peeing a little bit of water out, but not significant amounts. It's a lot of other stuff like uric acid, all this kind of stuff, right? So it's not really the anti-pee hormone because you're still able to pee. You're just not really peeing water. Okay, so that's the long story, okay? How does it work? Okay, this testicular-looking anatomical structure is the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, okay? It's not the testicles. It looks like it, but it's not. ADH is made in the hypothalamus. And then it is stored in the posterior pituitary. This is the anterior pituitary, this is the posterior pituitary, okay? ADH is stored there, and when it is needed, it will go and be transported to the DCT, causing water reabsorption. So water here is going to be reabsorbed into the blood at higher quantities, okay? How does it happen? Okay, in the hypothalamus, there's something called osmoreceptors. Osmoreceptors detect the osmolarity in our blood, Okay, so when the osmolarity is off, it's going to trigger these osmoreceptors and tell the hypothalamus it's time to make ADH and time to secrete it into the DCT. Okay, the other mechanism is baroreceptors. Okay, so the osmoreceptors basically cover the dehydration part of it, right? If you're dehydrated, it triggers the osmoreceptors. If your blood pressure is low, it's going to trigger the baroreceptors. Now, the baroreceptors are located in your aorta, which is your, in the heart, and your carotid artery. Okay. These baroreceptors detect pressure changes. Okay, it's going to detect low blood pressure. If your blood pressure is low, it's going to talk to the hypothalamus. It's going to tell it to make ADH. It's going to tell the posterior pituitary to release it and put it into the DCT to get more water and put it back in the blood. That's basically what's happening with ADH. So yeah, ADH is involved in water reabsorption. Super, super, super helpful, necessary for us to live. Okay, I think it's kind of cool, right? So the next video is going to be about the collecting duct. We're going to go over a few hormones there, and then one of the other videos I'm going to make is on the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone mechanism. It's going to have its own video because it's super, super important, and it's my favorite mechanism. So until next time, later.